I remember when I was younger and, Dexatrim. I'm going to go on a diet. I'm going to take Dexatrim. Well, no, how about if you eat right and exercise and do the right things for yourself?
Hello and welcome to my podcast, Show Up. My name is Daryl Dittmer. As someone who built financial freedom from scratch, I understand what's possible, as there was a time when I thought I had only a life of mediocrity ahead of me. Drinking, drugs, and zero confidence plagued me. The one thing that changed my life is when I decided to do things differently and give success a chance. And I don't just mean financial success, I mean life success. I started to show up to my life and my career, and one step after another provided me the life I never thought possible. At any age, life begins to change when you start to show up. Welcome to my podcast.
One of the big life-stopping things that I have done, and I see a lot of people do, is they blame. And it's something I am just not at all chill about because it really affects people's lives. And the finger pointing and the, oh, it's not me, it's something outside of me, excuses are just absolutely like throwing a grenade in the middle of your life. And I mean that obviously, not literally, but if you want to blow up your life, spend your entire life blaming people, places, and things for where you're at. One of my books, I have a chapter called The Nouns, and all of the things that I don't have control over, and it's the nouns. It's people, places, and things, everything outside of me. And blame fits right into that mold. When I'm blaming my life, blaming people in my life, blaming some circumstance outside of me, then I'm thwarting my growth. I'm thwarting my ability to move forward in a direction that will propel me toward peace of mind or financial security or some sort of meaning or purpose in my life. All of these things get thwarted by blame. My health, if I'm not taking responsibility, we can look at these things one at a time, but let's just say health. If I'm not taking 100% responsibility for my health, then I am missing out on my opportunity to actually be healthy. And this could be a little bit of a controversial topic, but I don't really give a shit. You look at some of the pills that people are on to try to lose weight, and I'm not going to name them, but I remember when I was younger, and Dexatrim. I'm going to go on a diet. I'm going to take Dexatrim. Well, no, how about if you eat right and exercise and do the right things for yourself? And these days people are like, oh, it's this condition and it's that condition and it's something that's outside of my control. It's like, well, no, your health is not outside of your control. Now, is there a small percentage of people that have, are unhealthy because of something outside of them? Absolutely. And I've had, things happen in my health where they threw me on drugs and they're like, this is the only way to get through it is by going on these drugs and masking the symptoms of what's going on. And one case in particular, I was quite sick, and it was in the middle of a lot of stress and a lot going on business-wise, this and that, trying to be successful, pursuing life. And I made myself sick and quite sick. And I took myself off the drugs. You know why? Because I investigated what was wrong with me. I talked to people and doctors and holistic doctors and all that sort of thing, regular doctors. The regular doctors said, get on drugs. The holistic practitioner said, you know what, read this book and find out how you need to provide yourself with the proper nutrition, get rid of sugar, get rid of this, get rid of that. And I did those things, and I was able to take myself off of drugs. And for the last almost 15 years, I've been asymptomatic. So I'm not saying that things don't happen. Yes, absolutely things happen. But if you take the bull by the horns and say, you know what, I'm going to find out what's going on, and I'm going to take 100% responsibility for whatever happens from here forward, whether I have a grave illness and you know what, there's nothing I can do at this point, I still need to take responsibility for how I move through that. Or whether it's, you know what, I'm 50 pounds overweight, I don't know how it happened, but I'm not going to blame it on some condition outside of me. And I'm not going to blame it on McDonald's because I'm the one putting that stuff in my mouth. And I'm not going to blame it on some phantom thing that's going on. I have to take responsibility, and I have to let go of that blame. Let's look at something else. Let's look at politics. I have my version of what I think this life entails. You have your version of what you think this life entails. But I can say this, if you're blaming how you feel every day on, well, this person is in charge and I don't like that person and they're just a terrible person and I'm going to have bad days until they're gone, you know what? Tough shit. You're going to have bad days until they're gone, and those are all days in your life that could have been good days, but they're not, because you're blaming your life and how you feel on something outside of you, and it just happens at this point to be politics. When I can promise you that you're not going to feel any better when the other side is in charge, because there's always going to be something that you're going to find a reason to feel bad about, or to blame, or to say, you know what, I feel this way because. You know, I have done these things. I have not so much in politics, because when I was younger, I had no idea what was going on in politics. And thank God for that, because that's an easy one where you can say, oh, I'm just so beside myself and I'm just having this horrible day because, and then a day after that, you're having a horrible day, and a day after that, and soon it's weeks and months and years that are gone from what could have been you feeling good every day, or at least most of those days. So what's something else we blame our lives on? How about the relationships? You know, who's in my life that I can say, you know what, if they weren't around, I'd feel good. If they didn't continually do this, I'd feel good. You can't blame life on everyone else. You can't blame life on what's going on outside of you having to do with other people. The choice is, and I've done it, the only reason I can talk about it is because I've done it, but I've also done the alternatives. I have booted people out of my life who are toxic. I have gotten rid of, you know, so to speak, family members in my life who were very toxic for me. And because of the narcissism and the selfishness and the lack of responsibility that they take in their life, and the taking and not giving that they've done in their lives. And it takes some clarity to be able to see that and to make the right decisions. But I promise you, there are friends that you probably have that are toxic, who piss you off pretty consistently. There are family members who are pretty toxic. And it's easy to say, you know, I feel this way because of them. And the choice for me is, and the choice for you is, what am I going to do with that? And what are you going to do with that? The responsible choice and the accountable choice is to look at what's going on with those people and look at what's going on with yourself, and to say, is this something healthy for me that I need to figure out a way to continue with? Or is this something unhealthy that I need to get out of my life, one way or the other? Whether it's less time with that person, whether it's, you know what, I need to tell that person, I need to set up my boundaries when it comes to those people. And I'm not saying wall them off and expect them to be differently. I'm saying boundaries are for you. Boundaries are what you allow. And we used to call boundaries, you teach people how to treat you. And there is nothing more important than that when it comes to your life. You teach people how to treat you. You teach people what you're going to accept in your life, and you teach people what you're not going to accept in your life. And if you set up that boundary with a person, then it's your responsibility if they're not treating you the way that you deserve and you've decided that you're going to be treated, then it's time for maybe something a little more drastic. Like, look, I can't have you in my life anymore. That sort of thing. So there's a lot of ways in this life that we can blame, and there's a lot of ways in this life that we can turn it back around and look at ourselves and say, I am not going to do that the way I've been doing it because it's making me have very bad days and very bad weeks and very bad months. I need to do something different. So take charge of you. Take charge of what you allow, and take charge of the policies that you put in place for your life. And I promise you, your contentment meter is going to go up the less you blame life and the less you blame other people. And that's just how it works. So pay attention to some little things, set up some things for yourself that take the blame out of your life, and I promise you your life will get different very, very quickly.